welcome beautiful souls to my podcast Midlife Alabahare, where we embrace the spirit of continuous rebirth and celebrate the wonders of midlife transformations one episode at a time. I am your curious host Bahare, and I couldn't be more excited to embark on this journey of self-reflection, lifelong learning, healing, authenticity, and acting to continuously elevate our lives from ordinary to extraordinary with you all. If you're in your 40s, 50s, and beyond, or in the midst of a midlife adventure, or simply seeking inspiration from all walks of life to invigorate your soul, join me in this real-life podcast. As we turn the calendar page and step into the fresh pages of 2024, I'm here in Canada, cozied up with my fresh cup of tea, ready to chat about something we all ponder at this time of the year: change and resolution. Guess what? We are giving it a midlife twist. So make yourself comfortable, perhaps with a steaming cup of tea, your journal, and let's start this journey together. Midlife is such a unique time, full of changes and challenges, right? We're juggling so much. Maybe it's career changes, family dynamics, or personal aspirations. I've been thinking about how we approach change and the resolutions we make as midlifers. Remember those ambitious New Year's goals we used to set? How often did they stick around past February? So I started digging into some really interesting research about how we, as fabulous midlifers, approach change and make resolutions. It's kind of eye-opening, and I just had to share it with you all. First off, it turns out that we've got a bit of an edge when it comes to self-knowledge. By the time we hit midlife, we've got a pretty good handle on who we are, what we want, and what we are not so keen on. This means when we are faced with changes or making decisions, we are not just shooting in the dark. We are making choices based on a whole lot of life experiences. Pretty cool, right? And when it comes to setting goals or making those New Year resolutions, guess what? We are not just dreaming big, we are dreaming smart. We've learned how to set goals that are realistic, a bit more flexible, get us out of our comfort zone, and let's be honest, a lot more likely to actually happen. Here's something I found super interesting. All those big life changes we go through in midlife, like career shifts or the kids flying the nest, if you have kids, they can actually spur us on to reevaluate our goals. It's like these transitions give us a chance to stop and think, hey, what do I really want out of life now? And speaking of what we want, there is this growing desire for meaning and purpose in midlife. It's like we are looking for resolutions that not only make us feel good, but also add something valuable to our lives and maybe even to others. We are also thinking long term. It's less about the quick wins and more about what's going to matter in the long term. We are playing the long game, my friends. Oh, and this one is a heartwarmer. We're getting more into social and community goals. It's like we are looking beyond ourselves and thinking about how we can contribute, connect, and make a difference. Lastly, who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? We are still learning, growing, and picking up new skills. It turns out midlife is far from being standstill. It's more of a springboard. So yeah, that's the scoop on how we are rocking midlife changes and resolutions. It's not just about making a bunch of promises at the start of the year. It's about making choices that really resonate with who we are and where we are in life. Pretty amazing stuff. When we talk about change in midlife, I think it's also about redefining what success and happiness means to us. Have you noticed how our idea of success and happiness and accomplishments has totally taken a new turn in midlife? It's like we've all been in this journey together, and somewhere along the way, our whole perspective shifted. Let me tell you, it's pretty refreshing. When I looked into our adventure through midlife, I was pretty enlightened. It's not just about how our view of success and happiness evolves, but there's also the practical side to it. You know how back in our younger days, success was all about our academic achievements or the big job promotion or the flashy new car? Well, according to a bunch of studies, including insights from psychologists and sociologists, as we hit midlife, our take on success gets a major makeover. It becomes more about personal satisfaction and those warm, fuzzy feelings of well-being. It's like as we age, our happiness meters get fine-tuned to appreciate the here and now. And speaking of happiness, have you noticed how it is the small stuff that counts these days? It is not just us. Research shows that people in midlife often find more joy in everyday moments. There is this concept in psychology about savoring, literally taking the time to enjoy the little things. It turns out we are kind of experts at it in our midlife years. It is not just about what we are doing though, it is also about what we are chasing. You might have heard of this shift from valuing material things to really cherishing experiences and relationships. I have. This stage of life is where we start focusing more on creating a legacy and nurturing relationships. It's like our happiness recipe gets this new wholesome ingredients. Who can resonate with this? Accomplishment in midlife is another cool area. It's less about ticking boxes and more about personal goals. Midlife is a prime time for achieving personal goals that resonate with our deeper value system. Isn't that something? I'm actually going through all of this myself now. And let's not forget about giving back. Turns out, being altruistic and helping others isn't just good for the soul. It's actually a big part of our happiness in midlife. This taps into the psychology concept of generativity, the joy we get from contributing to the well-being of others and society. It is like we are wired to feel good by doing good. Last but not least, in midlife, our perspective on finances often takes a new dimension. It's no longer just about accumulating wealth or climbing the corporate ladder for the highest salary. Instead, financial stability becomes a means to an end, a way to facilitate the life we envision for ourselves. We begin to see money as a tool that allows us the freedom to pursue our passions, whether that's traveling, delving into hobbies we've postponed, or even transitioning into a dream career that might not be as lucrative but is more fulfilling. This stage of life brings a clearer understanding that true success and accomplishment aren't measured solely by our bank balance, but by the riches of our experiences and the fulfillment of our deepest aspirations. Financial security in midlife supports this journey, providing the peace of mind and resources needed to explore, contribute, and savor life fully. It's a subtle yet significant shift from viewing money as the primary goal to seeing it as a valuable resource that supports our broader goals of personal growth, joy, and meaningful engagement with the world around us. So, in a nutshell, my friends, our midlife journey is this incredible mix of personal growth, savoring the moment, and making meaningful connections. It's time when our definition of success gets deeper and our happiness gets richer. How cool is that? Now let's chat about some New Year's resolutions that are perfect for us midlifers, along with fun stories and simple tips to make them stick. Getting our move on by adding a bit of exercise into our daily routine. Frankly, I haven't been able to exercise the way I used to for a couple of years now because of some injuries I got during COVID. So this year, I committed to 30 minutes of echelon bike ride that was gifted to me during the holidays, 10 minutes of weight training, and 1 hour of hot yoga at least 3 times a week. It's all about staying active in a way that feels good. Think about ways you can incorporate 10 to 15 minutes of physical activity into your life. How about starting with a chill 15-minute walk each day? And if you're up for it, aquafit, yoga, or Pilates can be amazing, especially the kinds designed for us awesome midlifers these days. New hobbies. New fun by learning something new, like learning guitar or growing beautiful flowers. Did I tell you about my friend Mark? At 55, he picked up a guitar, started learning online, and now he's all about those melodies. Talk about hitting the right notes in life. Making it all work, my friends. Pick something that sparks your interest. Carve out a bit of time each day for it, and maybe even join a class. Who knows, you might just find your new passion. Getting smart with money by improving our financial health. Think saving or cutting down on unnecessary expenses. My friend Sarah whipped up a simple budget plan, started saving a bit from each paycheck, and voila, less debt, more peace of mind. Your money game plan? Why not try a budgeting app? Set some doable saving goals. Maybe even chat with a financial advisor for some savvy tips. 2 years ago, I started a vacation fund. I don't like emergency funds. We can talk about that another day. And deposited $100 bi-weekly. It is not in my primary bank account, so I don't get to check it out regularly. But whenever I do, it's quite a pleasant surprise because it gives me peace of mind whenever I book my next adventure that I have my vacation fund dashed up. Relationship goals by bringing more warmth and depth to our relationships. Maya and her better half switched up their busy routine with regular date nights and little trips within the province of Ontario here in Canada, rekindling their spark. It's all about making time for each other. How about setting up some regular dates or hangouts? Being open to new experiences together can be super fun, and the good old heart-to-heart talks always help. Refreshing our social circle by evaluating and potentially refreshing our relationships. Sometimes it's not just about strengthening bonds, but also recognizing when a relationship might be doing more harm than good. Over the past few years, I have realized that some of my long-standing or old friendships, or even some family relations, were unhealthy. It was really tough, but deciding to step back from a few toxic relationships brought a lot of peace and positive energy into my life and opened space for new folks to enter. It's about taking a good and hard look at our relationships and asking ourselves, is this mutually beneficial? Is this uplifting? And if not, it might be time for a change. It's okay to set boundaries or even distance ourselves from negativity. I'll do another episode on boundaries due to popular demand. Remember, fostering positive and supportive connections is key to our well-being, especially at this stage of life. It is all about quality over quantity in our social lives. Growing inside out by embracing personal development, like getting our mindfulness on or diving into books. Another friend of mine, Linda, started with 10 minutes of reading and 10 minutes of breath work daily, and it has been a game changer for her stress levels. Easy ways to grow? Begin with short mindfulness practices. Set a fun reading goal, a book a month, maybe. Giving back and feeling great by volunteering and making a difference. One of my colleagues started helping at a local shelter, using his carpentry magic, and it's given him a whole new sense of purpose. Look up volunteering options that suit your skills and passions. Even a small commitment can make a big impact. And why not get friends or family involved too, if you can? So there we have it, my friends. Some pretty cool resolutions that are perfect for us in our wonderful midlife stage. It's all about realistic goals, enjoying the process, and of course, having a bit of fun along the way. Now, let's be honest, we are not in our 20s anymore. And thank goodness for that, right? Our resolutions at this stage of life, well, they're a whole different ball game. Think about it. In midlife, we've got this awesome mix of wisdom, experience, and let's face it, a bit less patience for this stuff that doesn't really matter. So when we talk about New Year's resolutions, it's not about setting those flashy over-the-top goals. It's about finding what truly resonates with us. As we talked about earlier, in midlife, our goals tend to shift from being all about achievement to being about fulfillment. It's like we are more interested in the stuff that feeds our soul, you know? Whether it is picking up a new hobby, reconnecting with old friends, or finally taking that dream trip. But here's the key. Let's think small to win big. I'm talking about making tiny, consistent changes that are more sustainable than big, dramatic overhauls. Instead of saying, I'm going to hit the gym every day, how about I'll start with a 10-minute walk after dinner? Or I'll start reading just 10 more pages a day, instead of a whole book in a week. This might seem like small potatoes, but over a year, that's a whole lot of pages read and kilometers walked. It's about setting ourselves up for success with goals that are realistic and honestly more enjoyable. And let's not forget about the internal side of things. Midlife is a great time to tackle those pesky limiting beliefs that might have held us back in the past. Those little voices that say, you can't do this, or it's too late for that, you're too old for this. Overcoming these beliefs is crucial. I was reading a study about how challenging and changing our thought patterns can significantly impact our behavior and outcomes. It is like shedding old skin. A little bit of self-reflection and maybe some mindfulness or journaling can go a long way in clearing our heads and hearts for the new year. So how about we start this year by identifying those beliefs and gently showing them the door? Another key piece is cleansing our energy. Shaking off the old vibes to make space for new, positive energy. It is all about letting go of the past regrets and failures and embracing the present. There's this fascinating research in the field of energy psychology that emphasizes the impact of our emotional and energetic state on achieving our goals. So let's make some time for activities that rejuvenate us, be it meditation, a nature walk, or just some quiet time with our thoughts. Remember that having a list of resolutions as the new year rolls in is just one way. But let's be honest, sometimes that just doesn't suit everyone. And that's perfectly fine. Like my neighbor Maria, she told me that instead of making specific resolutions each year, she's simply choosing to stay open to whatever life throws her way. She focuses on staying positive, adaptable, and ready for new experiences. This approach is actually quite liberating if you don't have a specific goal in mind to achieve. It takes the pressure of having to stick to a strict set of goals, which, let's face it, can sometimes feel even more chore than the positive life change. Being open to new experiences means you're more likely to try things spontaneously, leading to unexpected joys and discoveries. The power of positive mindset cannot be overstated, my friends. It's about looking for the silver lining, being grateful for what we have, and embracing the journey of life with a smile. This mindset can actually lead to more profound and fulfilling changes than any strict resolution could. Start your day with a positive affirmation or a moment of gratitude. When opportunities or challenges arise, try to see them as adventures or learning experiences. Stay curious, sign up for that random class, say yes to social invitations, or just take a different path on your evening walk. You'll be surprised as to how these small actions can lead to big changes. While setting resolutions is great for some, remember, it's not a one-size-fits-all. And it's totally okay to ditch the whole resolution thing if it doesn't work for you. Sometimes just riding the waves with a positive attitude and an open heart can bring the most significant transformations in our lives and be the best resolution. Here's to 2024 filled with positivity, flexibility, and unexpected adventures. Who knows what happens? So, as we gear up for the new year, let's do it our way and set ourselves up for success, midlife style, with resolutions that are more about bringing joy, fulfillment, and maybe a little bit of adventure into our lives. Remember, it's not about the destination. It's about enjoying the journey, one beautifully small step after another. And let's not forget that sometimes less is more. Here's to making the upcoming year one of the best yet in our own unique midlife style. Until we meet again, peace out. Now let's get the legal stuff out of the way. Midlife Ala Bahare is a personal podcast. All content is provided strictly for general information, education, and entertainment purposes. Any views or opinions represented in this podcast are personal and do not represent those of people, institutions, or organizations that the owner may or may not be associated with professionally or personally, unless explicitly stated. Any views or opinions are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, or individual. Any use of the information from this podcast or material linked to it, whether to the podcast or website, is undertaken at the user's own discretion and risk. It is not intended to serve as a replacement for guidance from a qualified expert, nor is it meant for diagnosis or treatment. Thank you for supporting my podcast.